What if the end of the world is not a fire from the sky, but a sound from the ground? For months, terrifying reports have come from the villages near the Euphrates River. Locals say they hear strange noises coming from the dry riverbed. It does not sound like wind. It does not sound like shifting rocks. They say it sounds like heavy iron chains dragging against the earth. Deep, angry growls coming from the abyss. To a scientist, this is a geological mystery, but to millions of believers, this is a specific ancient warning. The Bible predicted this exact moment thousands of years ago. It says that when this river dries up, 4 terrifying entities will be released. They have been chained in the darkness for centuries, and now the water that held them back is gone. Is the drying of the Euphrates just a result of climate change? Or are we listening to the sound of a prison break that will end civilization? To understand the horror of the future, we must look at the past. The Euphrates is not just a river. It is the birthplace of humanity. It flows through Turkey, Syria, and Iraq. In ancient times, this was Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization. History tells us that writing, farming, and the first laws began here. But the Bible tells us something even more important. It says the Garden of Eden was here. This is where God created man, and this is where the first sin happened. For thousands of years, this river was a massive barrier. It was deep, wide, and powerful. It protected empires. It gave life to millions of people. It seemed eternal. But today, the eternal river is dying. Look at the satellite images from 20 years ago versus today. The difference is shocking. What used to be a blue giant is now a thin, muddy stream. In some areas, the river has completely vanished. You can walk across the riverbed without getting your feet wet. Government reports say the water levels have dropped to historic lows. Farmers are desperate. Their crops are turning to dust. Animals are dying of thirst. The region is facing a catastrophe. Scientists blame rising temperatures and massive dams built by Turkey. And they are right. These are physical causes, but many experts believe something supernatural is guiding these events. Because the Bible did not just say the river might dry up, it said it must dry up. In the book of Revelation, chapter 16, verse 12, there is a chilling prophecy. It says, "The 6th angel poured out his bowl on the great river Euphrates, and its water was dried up to prepare the way for the kings from the east." For centuries, people laughed at this verse. The Euphrates was too big to dry up. It was impossible. But now you are seeing it with your own eyes on the news. The prophecy mentions the kings from the east. In ancient times, a river was a wall of defense. An army could not cross it easily. But now, the road is open. Many prophecy watchers look at the current world powers. They look to the east, at nations like China, Russia, and Iran. They see massive armies forming. They see alliances that never existed before. The Bible speaks of an army of 200 million soldiers, a number that seemed impossible in ancient times, but today, it is a very real possibility. The drying river removes the physical border. The road for the final war is being paved right now. But an invading army is not the scariest thing hiding in the river. There is something much older and much more dangerous. Revelation chapter 9 speaks of a different event at the Euphrates. It says, "Release the 4 angels who are bound at the great river Euphrates." Notice the word bound. Holy angels are not bound. You do not chain up a loyal servant. You chain up a prisoner. You chain up a criminal. These 4 entities are fallen angels. They were so dangerous, so destructive, that God locked them in a specific prison. He buried them under the rushing waters of the Euphrates River. Why? To keep them away from humanity until the right time. The text says they are prepared for a specific hour, day, month, and year. They have a mission, and their mission is a nightmare. They are released to eliminate 1/3 of mankind. This is why the locals are terrified of the sounds. As the water level drops, the prison walls get thinner. The barrier between their world and ours is breaking. Let's go back to those audio recordings. Earlier this year, videos went viral on social media. People recorded strange moaning sounds coming from the cracks in the dry earth. Skeptics say this is air escaping from underground caves. They say it is the sound of the earth settling. But the locals tell a different story. They speak of the imprisoned ones. In Islamic tradition, there are also prophecies about the Euphrates. They say the river will uncover a mountain of gold and people will fight over it. But the Christian text focuses on the entities. Imagine beings that have waited thousands of years in darkness. They are angry, they are powerful, and the only thing keeping them down was the water. Now the water is evaporating. Are the sounds we hear the groaning of the earth, or are they the chains of fallen angels shaking as they prepare to be loose? The mystery gets deeper. We cannot talk about the Euphrates without talking about the ancient Nephilim. Recently, a very strange rumor circulated on the internet regarding the Tomb of Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh was an ancient king, a giant described in myths as 2/3 god and 1/3 man. Some researchers believe Gilgamesh was one of the Nephilim, the offspring of fallen angels and human women mentioned in Genesis. The rumor claims that an expedition found his massive tomb under the Euphrates River. But before the discovery could be made public, the story goes that the military took control. The site was classified. Why would they hide an ancient tomb? Conspiracy theorists believe the DNA of these ancient giants is real. They believe the kings of the East might not be human armies at all. They might be the return of the ancient giants, the entities that were washed away by the Great Flood. If the river dries, does it expose the entrance to the abyss? The Bible describes what comes out of the abyss when the seal is opened. It describes locusts that look like horses prepared for battle. They have faces like men, teeth like lions, and tails like scorpions. For a long time, people thought this was just a metaphor, but as we look at the strange creatures being discovered in the deep ocean, and as we look at genetic modification today, is it really just a story? Or is it a warning about biological entities that have been sleeping under the mud? The prophecy says these creatures will not kill, but they will torment humanity for 5 months. It describes a time of suffering so bad that men will seek death, but they will not find it. All of this, Nagaras centers around one river. The Euphrates River is not just a body of water, it is a clock. For 2,000 years, the hands of the clock stood still. The water flowed. The angels were bound. The world was safe from this specific terror. But now, the clock is ticking. Every drop of water that evaporates brings us 1 second closer to midnight. The scientists are worried about drought. The politicians are worried about borders. But the text tells us to worry about what is underneath. The sounds are getting louder. The mud is cracking open. The history of the world began at this river, and it looks like it will end there too. The next time you see the news about the Middle East drying up, remember this. You are not watching a weather report. You are watching the opening of a prison door. The question is, what will you do when it opens? The prophecy does not end here. If you want to uncover more secrets hidden in the ancient world, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Hit the like button if you think this mystery needs to be heard. And tell me in the comments below, do you believe these sounds are the fallen angels or just geology? I want to know your theory. Stay vigilant. I will see you in the next video.